Așadar, prima dată o să invit pe domnul Jaroslav Kolarík din Republica Cehă. Please.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll switch to English because my Romanian is non-existent. So I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for your interest for the standards and for this project. My aim is to tell you something about the philosophy, about the background of the standards, and maybe to show you how they came to life, really, because the process was really interesting. So, as you probably know, we got now 2 sets of arboricultural standards. The first project was dedicated to the practical areas of tree pruning, tree planting, and cabling bracing, which create, let's say, the basis for arboricultural approach to trees. And very recently we concluded the second part of the standards, which is about consultancy in arboriculture. And this area, even if maybe it can look not that important, but you know, from your perspective, maybe this is very crucial, because to protect trees by the development activities and to claim their value, it's something which creates the very basis for, you know, any investor or any tree owner. So these 2 sets are really what we now consider to be the very basic approach for tree care. And and we hope that this can answer a majority of the questions which the industry have now in these years. So a few words about the philosophy and the reason. At the very start, we created a small working group within European Arboricultural Council, the EAC, which is the European Organization for Arborists. And you know, at that time, we ran already for something like 15 years certification projects, certification schemes for arborists. And you know, we came into a small group and starting to discuss really into the depth about the approaches, about the terms which we use, about the content of the terms. And we discovered pretty, you know, shocking thing, that even if we think that we are doing the same stuff, we are not. In different countries, the practices slightly were shifted or different even. And that was maybe the first impulse. So let's come together and let's define for everyone in Europe how these processes should be done, drawing from the good practice of different countries and in different setups. So we started to define our wild thoughts at that time, and it was really very intense brainstorming, which led into defining, let's say, the processes and the schemes of arboricultural standards which you at this moment can enjoy. And we defined many concepts which had the aim to really describe the approach for the trees. From one side, not harming them too much. From the other side, to fulfilling all the needs, including tree stabilization. So even these, you know, sometimes a bit harmful situations. And the team really did a very well job. I will make you acquaintance with the people within the team. So and probably if you read the names, you will know them, because the team was from 12 countries across Europe, and I must say that real personalities were present there. So we tried not only to define these processes and these facts at the table, but we really tried to travel, because we got support by the EU, by the Erasmus Plus project. So we really tried to travel across Europe, across the participant countries, and see the situations and really, you know, see the results of various interventions. So quite a large proportion of the project was really to travel and to show each other what interventions we did in past and what results these interventions had. During the first project, we were hit by COVID, really. So part of our activities must be moved into online situation. But even if we were really surprised by that, obviously, at the end of the day, it enabled us to really, buy the cameras and start using online platforms. And the result was really very positive, because not only we covered the standards, but we were able to produce some videos about the procedures as well. Part of the system was that the standards are not just work of the working group, but we invited everyone, really. We opened at the end of the development process, we opened it for any, let's say, professional from Europe, and invited people just to read the draft and to send proposals for changes. So we got pretty extensive reaction, and this is still continuing, because I will tell you later that we are opening these standards for revisions every year. So not only the working group is responsible for the texts, but it was reviewed and let's say added by many people across Europe. Funny situation was that even if 12 people were involved in the development process, none of those spoke good English, really. So not only that we had to define our very complex thoughts, but we used language which no one of us was accustomed to. And obviously the result was in kind of English. But these two colleagues from UK helped us to translate our English into proper one, so I must thank them. And obviously the graphic outline of the standard is very important. So we dedicated quite a lot of time to really describe and to define the pictures and the graphic outline of the standards, because if you look at them, this is probably what will catch your eye. So Olga is author of the pictures, and Dominic is author of the layout. And the standards are just, or could be perceived as just one of the standards which exist at the moment. But the big difference, which we really defined at the very start, is that they are for free. And at the start we didn't recognize how important it is, because if you want to get German or English, the British standards, you will pay a lot for the issue, and not even professionals are sometimes able to buy them. So we define this completely differently, because this is activity which the industry just offered to anyone for free. And if we communicate, for example, with developers or with parties which don't have really much interest in trees, so we can tell them, okay, just download it. That's it. Just read it, please, and stop harming trees. And this is very, very important part of the full process. And at this moment, we are really proud that we did this for the industry and for trees. Very important part, and this is something I would like to stress to you, is that every country can produce their national annex. And this is something which should not be underestimated, because in the main body of the standards, just imagine that all these 12 countries plus discussed about something, and obviously not everyone was happy with certain moments. But in the main body of the standards, only those ideas and those technologies went into which everyone was able to say yes to. Yeah? But for different countries, due to history, due to climate, due to tree species structure, can be perceived pretty differently. Because if you imagine, for example, Spain, which goes down to Canary Islands, it's definitely something which is very hard to compare with the practices in Sweden or something like that. So please take very seriously that not only the translation of the standards make them, let's say, possible to be implemented in the country, but creation of the national annexes for each standards. First of all, define the situation for the given country. and plus offer to people traveling from other countries, professionals coming to Romania or in these situations, make them possible to really read the specifications and to see what different practices and why, of course, are applied in your country. So the national annexes in a way overlap the validity of the main document, for the given situation, but obviously they should not contradict it. So within these national standards, normally or in general, we speak about, let's say, this geomorphology and these connections which define the climatic zone of the standards. We comment on the legislation because in different countries, trees, for example, have different level of protection by the government, or even for cities, very well that cities can define their own approach to protect trees and to deal with them. So this is something any professional coming to your country should be aware of. So the national annex is the resource for this kind of information. Then obviously, even if EU plus minus unites this, but the demands for safety at work can differ. For example, for work on roads or something like that. So that could be clarified in the national annex as well. Definitely, European countries strongly differ in perception of qualification criteria. So certain countries have their national qualification scheme for arborists. Some countries don't have anything like that. So you can just say what the situation in your country is and what is expected from the person who would like to do the job here. And of course, you can comment on the main body of the standards. So if some of these, interventions or clarifications, whatever, are not used in your country, you can define, okay, this is due to, historical development, not used because of, so clarify the situation. But again, it should not contradict. For example, now we had a discussion in one country that they still paint the pruning wounds. And this is a practice which was refused quite a long time ago in the, I would say, rest of the world, because even the ISA is not happy with this approach. So obviously there is lots of research on that, so we are pretty sure that this should not be applied. So even the national standards should not allow that, even if, of course, you can comment on it. For example, from aesthetic reasons, we sometimes allow something like that. But just be careful a bit not to overlap the main body too much. So we have now just recently defined, let's say, some definitions for creating the national annexes. So definitely your colleagues who are working on the translation at a certain moment will probably do the annex as well. And I mentioned now the translations, and this is something we are really proud of. Because at the start of the project, we promised just 2 languages. At this moment, we've got 30 languages. So the standards are really spreading like fire, not only through Europe, even if they are named European Arboricultural Standards. At this moment, they are being translated into Israel, in the Hebrew, in Turkey, and now even from Asia and from other really countries pretty far away, the interest came. So I just want to tell you that this is one of the main resources at this moment for arboriculture, and for many countries this means very quick way how to really implement the, let's say, biggest amount of the contemporary know-how for tree care. And we are really happy that we can in this way even share the experience with each other. And this kind of implementation meetings, like we call them, is probably next year will start in other countries too. So this is something we are really happy with. If there is someone from outside of Romania, you can contact us, and obviously even the permission for translating the standards is for free, so this is something we really would like to support as the industry. Within the project, I don't want to go too deep into that because the time is limited, but we did quite a lot of additional, let's say, small projects. One of these being the database for installed cabling bracing systems. Where the arborists are allowed to put information about cabling bracing systems installed on their trees, which is very essential because I'm not sure how frequented this intervention is in Romania, but in Czech Republic we started with that in 1996, and at this moment we've got tens of thousands of trees with installed systems, cabling bracing in the crowns, and if we forget to manage them, this can really heavily damage the tree, so not help it, but really condemn it. So it's very crucial to have this database in place. So we again created free app which can be just downloaded and used. Due to these, budget changes due to COVID, we were able to support some smaller projects like definition for deadwood management and other areas of, let's say, more specialized tree care. Within the last project, we created even e-learning system, which now is slowly being translated into languages. So the standards and the text can serve as a let's say support material for people who are preparing for the industry certifications, or even for schools if they teach arboriculture. So this is part of the last project which we closed in February this year. And as I told you before, we created some video resources. So if you like YouTube, you can search for European Arboricultural not standards, but Council channel, or Arboriculture Academy channel, and you will find there many videos demonstrating the interventions and the necessary background for it. Yeah, and very important activities just came recently. Last year we started to do revision processes for standards, because you can imagine that the tree pruning standard at this moment is already 5 years old, which can be not that tragical, but the industry develops pretty quickly. So we definitely want to have the option to extend and to clarify the standards regularly. So last year we started the revision process with the aim, first of all, just adjust the small errors and problems which obviously were in the standards included, and to invite more people to participate on the text. So we just opened the system and invited everyone to comment on the standards. And we, within EAC, within the European Arboricultural Council, we created a platform as a working group, which should work just every year. And every year we would like to open one of the standards and just discuss on it and extend it, and let's say make it up to date. So this year we plan to open the tree planting standard, which, by the way, it's pretty, important and I would say sensitive area, because we are at certain points we are in a quite strong discussion with the nursery industry, with the tree nurseries, because I don't want to say that we've got slightly different options or the aims, because it's hopefully not true. But as arborists, we really feel that, okay, if we are responsible to not only plant trees and make them survive, but to, let's say, make them for the future, to be stable, to be working on the side, we have slightly different, let's say, demands on the trees. So the discussion will be definitely very intense, I would say, and we look forward to that. And definitely, again, it will be mirrored into the text of the standard, and you will be definitely informed. This is a chance for plus minus anyone, so we invite people who are commenting on the standards. So the condition for participating in the discussion will be just to send some proposals for the standard, because we need active members of this discussion group. But on the other hand, it's open for everyone. And as you see, the plan is just every year to open one of the standards. And hopefully even the list of the standards will be extended, because we still need to cover the tree climbing, use of the working platform, the MUP. We definitely would like to open standard for veteran tree care, which is a very specific part of the industry, but very sensitive and very important. So there are many areas where we still aim to create our standards about. One of the activities which now is happening in Romania is what we call the implementation tour. The first visit happened last month in Kiev, in Ukraine, and we have now quite an interest from across Europe, just organizing either small working groups or bigger conferences or even congresses about that. And the thought, okay, let's speak openly and let's spread the word about the usage of the standards is definitely very valid and very valuable. And we would like within this implementation tour to create a pool how different countries do that. Because we've got in principle two ways: either to contact the government and make government to force from above these ideas into the industry, or the other way around, just activate the arborists, the cities, the tree owners, and start to build it from below, just to create the situation that people will really appreciate the trees, appreciate the thought that we are caring for them. So, any country can have different approach to the implementation process, and we would like to map it and to really then share the approaches and the ways how we do it to make it more, let's say, more successful. So you are part of that, and again, thank you for organizing this, and we are really happy to participate. Okay, and I would like now to show you just a short video to appreciate the team who created the standards. So as you see, the process was very intense, very interesting, definitely. And now we are offering the standards to you. This is AI, of course. And we would like really to invite you into the usage of the standards. You've got available the translation, and we are really eager to hear your experience and your approaches to that. Thank you very much.